Hello, everybody. My name is Carter Hall, and welcome to another episode of What Really Happened. My guest today was on the 2019 UFC Contender Series back in 2019, and she'll be stepping back into the octagon for UFC 266. Sarah Sweet Alpar, thanks for coming on to the podcast. How's it going?
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's going good. How's your Saturday?
It's pretty good. Just got a little bit of a rainstorm today, but other than that, everything's been pretty good.
Nice. It's probably gonna head this way then.
Probably. So, doing a little bit of research, and you're from Amarillo, Texas, which happens to be my hometown too. And I remember I graduated from Tascosa back in 2016, and I was on the wrestling team there. And there's been a handful of times just here and there that I got to watch you come in and work on some drill and stuff like that in the mat room. And I just want to let you know, you had some great techniques and stuff like that, some great takedowns. That I was like, man, this girl was something. Was completely amazed when I saw you compete. But when did you discover wrestling? How did it come up for you?
Ooh, wrestling. Okay, so I went to Bonham Middle School in Amarillo. I was going to school there. My older brother, Jason Joachim, he was a wrestler at Tascosa for Johnny Cobb.
Yeah.
So I took to it from that. I was like pretty rambunctious, growing up and stuff. I was pretty stubborn and everything. And so that was the beginning, like when I kind of found wrestling was through my older brother. And then in middle school, I had a really hard time. I was getting bullied. I was a transfer student, so I didn't know any kids out there, and it was totally different. I went to a Catholic school prior, and so everything was like super like, let's all love each other and this and that. And then I went to like middle school, you're a jerk, blah, blah, I hate you, like this, like bring on the hardcore rock music, right? So I was really struggling, and I didn't even want to go to school. And in the middle of it, they're like, well, we have a wrestling team. And so in sixth grade, I went and joined the Bonham Middle School wrestling team. I was the only girl ever to be on the team.
Wow.
At that time. I was the first one. So made it through. We didn't have a tournament, so I kind of quit early. And then the next year, I went and got back into it. I was like, I'm going to do this. And what's cool was like 13 girls showed up for the team that next year. So that was awesome. That was a big start. And wrestling, really, it was my baby. I held on to it. It was something that I was able to have to give me a little bit of strength and to get through the people who were bullying me and things like that. And like it just gave me a little extra edge so I could get through it, so things weren't so bad. And I held on to that all through high school. And Coach Cobb just set such a foundation for me. He was an amazing man. Like, I wish he got to experience his coaching. And even Coach Stafford, Coach Stafford definitely took me to state my senior year. And just, I had such great coaches. Coach Welch was involved a lot. She was just like a great woman at the time when I was there too. So, yeah. And I carried on. I did a year at college at OCU. That kind of fell short. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And then after that, I came home from college and collected myself, got myself back together, finished school at WT, and then I started fighting.
Oh, cool. So, I never had the chance to wrestle with Coach Cobb. He was a coach before mine. I wrestled with Coach Stafford. But I would see Coach Cobb here and there at tournaments. He would show his face every once in a while, and it would just be like, oh my God, there's like an aura around him in a way, in a good way. It's like, that's like, he's like the man in a way. It's like his legacy that he left at Tascosa, I think, was pretty cool, I thought. But
yeah, well, even throughout Amarillo, all the coaches were under Coach Cobb.
Yeah, for sure.
Really cool. Yeah, he's just a great man. I still talk to him every chance I get. I call him Coach Dad. He's amazing. I love that man so much.
Oh, cool. So how did Coach Cobb help you, in the long run? Did he help? What major, aspects did Coach Cobb instill in you?
Jeez, like just in everything, in every part of life. I'd sit in his office and just have conversations with him, and the words that he would speak to me, like all through high school. Not all through high school, but I had like a relationship like my freshman and sophomore year that was pretty rough. I shouldn't have been in it. The guy was kind of, had his own stuff going on, and I didn't need to be involved in that. And just be able to, like, Coach Cobb kept me focused, and wrestling kept me focused. I could have gone down like a very different road if it wasn't for Coach Cobb and wrestling, and him just telling me to keep going and believing in me. He thought like I was a hard worker and that I was great, and he pushed that out of me too. There's so many words that still like speak to me from Coach Cobb. He's always saying like, run when others walk, study when others party. Like, he had like a foundation of rules set, and I still follow a lot of those things that he says. One of my favorite quotes he always told me was, "It's okay to be disappointed. It's not okay to regret." And like, I still use that today. Just like he's a great man.
Yeah, he was, able to be around him. I talked to him, just a handful of times, super rarely, and just being able to, like you said, he was just you pick up so many. At least for me, my perspective with him, it just you picked up a couple things here and there from him that just like stuck with me through high school and everything, and even a little bit now. It's like reflecting back, even what he said, everything was so true. Though he just like like crumbs in a way, breadcrumbs is just knowledge that you get from him. Sometimes I think he's just one of those people that can just do it super easy.
Yeah.
But
It takes
sorry.
3 degrees to change someone's life, and he definitely he does that, and he's done that for so many people.
For sure. So, like, for you, why do you find that motivation in wrestling, when it came to wrestling, where did you find that motivation to grind so hard? Was it just Coach Cobb, or was it just different aspects of wrestling in that sport of wrestling that you found? Like, was there so many, like, where did you find that motivation to keep grinding?
I feel like for me, I'm a hard worker, and I want to do the best that I can. And I always just wanted to get better and to get better. And I had big goals, and I set those high. And, then, my coaches believe in me, and having like that. I really feel like if I didn't have the coaches that I did, I could have gone like a different route and wouldn't have gone as far as what I did. And that, and they saw so much. They're like, this girl's got heart, and she's tough, and she's a hard worker. And having that help too instilled more to believe in myself even more. And everything with wrestling, I loved it so much. Just the grind and being able to get just that the next edge each practice and the push. And there's always a chance to make yourself better. Like, man, wrestling made me tough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things, too, that, like, there's so many aspects to wrestling that people really don't know a whole lot about. It's like a whole different sport in itself compared to, like, football or baseball and things like that. It's, like, so different, and it's kind of hard to explain sometimes to people. Like, I think, for me, it's, like, hard to put into words sometimes, the grind that you have to put into wrestling sometimes, I
Yeah,
think.
it's so true. There's no other sport like it.
For sure. But, it's, kind of a different sport in its own right, is mixed martial arts. So how did someone like you mentioned how you went from a Catholic school to middle school, starting out wrestling, being the only girl on the team. How'd you go from that? Like, how'd you go from wrestling, being a great wrestler in high school and college, to, like, one day, like, you know what, I wanted to become a, mixed martial artist and fighter. How'd you go from that transition to MMA? How was that for you?
So my goals originally, like, I wanted to go to the Olympics and be an Olympic wrestler, and I had made that goal, and it fell short. I did a year at Oklahoma City University. I was on a scholarship, and through that time, I kept getting like MRSA. I was getting really sick. I was doing things, and I completely lost myself over that year. I was cutting a whole lot of weight. just a lot was going on. I was going to go back for a second year at OCU, and then I ended up with a kidney stone that summer. And after that, I was done. You know, every time, like, I try to think about going back, I would feel sick, I would cry, like, I didn't want to go back, but, I had this goal, and, like, I wanted to be this Olympic wrestler and do this thing, and it just, like, it fell short. So I was pretty heartbroken with myself. So I always accomplished my goals. Like, I was really strong in doing that. Like, I was very hard-headed with it, and I fell short with it. Came home, but I knew, like, I had to get healthy again. I had to get myself back together, and I had to find Sarah again, which, I mean, it took years and years to really be able to gain myself back. But fighting found me. I needed a job when I went back home in Amarillo, and I landed at Martial Arts Athletic Center, the MAC, with Mike Lister. And I was trying to get a job, so I got a job at the daycare, but he knew I wrestled and stuff, and he was building a fight program, and he was like, I want you to fight. And really, like, I just took it all in. My parents, mainly like my mom, she wasn't super supportive of it. Like, I went to tell her, I was like, I gotta fight, Mom. I'm gonna kickbox. It was like a kickboxing, amateur kickboxing match. And she was like, why are you doing this? Blah, blah, blah. She like lectured me out. I had to walk out of the house, and even like walking out of the house, cause I was just like, I can't handle you right now. Like, I got in my car and had to drive around the block, a few times until she left back for work. Cause like, she was just like not having it. And, but yeah, you know, I had that, and I've been fighting since. And, you know, Ronda Rousey welcomed, women into the UFC, and I was able to set a goal of doing that. And then now I'm here trying to get the belt, you know, and going for the belt. Like, that's what my goal is set. And, I'm a go-getter. Like, I love the process. It's cool. It's just like all I know. Competing is all I know. And, so I'm going to fulfill it and do all the things.
It sounds like you are a real go-getter, because, like, you went from, like you said, wrestling to kickboxing or anything like that. It's like you went from one combat sport to another where you're just kicking people in the face. You know, it's like two completely different things. Like, I can never kickbox. I don't want to get kicked in the actual face. But, but, like you said, you are actually, it's just crazy that you're actually, you know, going for, you know, you want to go for the belt, you know, and, you know, that must be a lot of training on your end, you know. It's supposed like to go from, he said, bottom to now in the UFC, you know, you got a contract and everything like that. It baffles my mind sometimes. Like, man, this is really cool. It's like a, you know, story, you know. It feels like one of those. It sounds like a movie to me in a way, in a good way. It feels like, man, they think make a movie out of Sarah Alpar instantly.
Yeah, it is. Like, there's so much that's gone on in my life that, you know, a part that, like, for a while I was ashamed of, or, you know, that I was like, man, like, why did I get into that? Like, why did I let myself get into those things? But really, like, my life and my story and what the path that God has for me, like, man, it's just, I'm embracing it all, and I shouldn't be ashamed of other things. So it made me the person who I am today. And now, you know, I'm a leader, and I'm able to help someone else who might be going through the same thing, and maybe they, you know, I can cut that short so they don't have to go through what I did. But I'm so excited and, like, grateful to be on the path, and to meet the people that I have, and, you know, everybody, you know, along the way, it's made me stronger and got me to where I am and who I am today.
For sure. I mean, it sounds like you are really doing that in a great way. You are setting examples. It feels like your generation and a new up-and-coming generation of fighters or female fighters, you know, because it feels like you mentioned Ronda Rousey was really one of the first stars to break out in the UFC, and now you've got, you know, all these people like Sarah Alpar, and you know, and all these different people like Holly Holm, Raquel Pennington, all these different people who are just killing it, and it feels like you're really setting that stone for a lot of people. So, do you think that's any pressure on your end, or do you just feel like do you just welcome it in?
Oh, I welcome all of it, and it's such a blessing, and I'm just so happy to be where I'm at. There used to be some pressure to it, like when I got in the UFC, I felt like, oh, now I have to, now I have to, like, I don't have to do anything. I get to do these things.
Sure.
And what's cool with that is just like being present, you know. I started working with a mindset coach, Dr. Seth Dickerson, with My Steady Minds, and that guy, like, he's really brought me to, like, I didn't think I needed help. I thought, like, you know, I'm strong-headed, like I know I do, but like, man, he's really just brought me to a center and just to enjoy, like, the day, you know, not to put pressure on my career, enjoy, like, where I am and like what I have right now. And that's been really cool. He's helped me in life, in my career. Like, I'm in the present right now, and in this moment, I'm doing awesome, great things. I am a great fighter. Like, it's cool.
That's pretty awesome. You know, I can
Yeah.
respect that. I respect that a lot because, you know, there's, like you said, there's so many little things, little but major things that go into making a person or making a fighter. You know, it's like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
going out of your own way to, like, maybe this coach would help me, you know, in a different aspect that most people wouldn't think about. You know, as far as, like, you know, training and stuff like that, which I wanted to get into a little bit if that's cool.
Yeah.
So, like, for you, as far as like training, getting not just your mind right, but your body, everything right for a fight, what's that? Not getting too much into detail because I don't want to get you in trouble or anything like that. But like, I don't want to give away secrets or get in trouble. I don't want Dana White coming out down on me or anything like that. But but yeah. So so how is training for you overall? Like, what's it like? What's your like aspect going into training? Like, what's your mindset going into training? What do you get to hope? What do you hope to get out of it? That's what I guess I'm trying to ask.
Uh, every day you gotta get the most out of your training. Like, I've been waking up and like walking into practice. I'm gonna be like, I'm telling myself, I'm gonna be the best on the mat today. I'm gonna give my best. I think like the other day, kind of, it's like a Thursday, everyone's tired and stuff, and I kind of started falling short. And my coach, Justin Stone, he had to bring me back to life a little bit. And, you know, I was kind of a little disappointed in myself, like, man, you know, like, I was ready to go, and I kind of like fell down to like everyone's like tired level, and I was like, I appreciate you bringing me back up, and because that's what I needed. But little things like that, and having somebody to help with the strength when I start falling behind, that's a big thing. Like, fighting, it's individual, but it's also a team effort too, and you really need everybody to be on board so you can slip. And the days when you're, you know, down at this level, you know, you need that person who's up at this level to bring you back up.
Sure.
Um, so that's a big thing. With the recent event that had gone on, like, training's been so great. I've been able to just, you know, focus on that and to be the best fighter I can be. Yeah, I mean, it really does take everything. It's like adequate sleep, adequate nutrition, adequate training, adequate rest days, like the recovery, like all of it is so important in mind, spirit, and body. Like, you need everything. And that's not just for like fighters. That's for any athlete. You need all of those things.
Mm, for sure, it's like it takes so much to build a fighter. And you know, I follow you on Instagram, and it seems like you're doing a lot of crazy things lately. Like, just, you know, out of the gym, like cryotherapy and all this different stuff like that. Like, just, you know, to keep, you know, stay ready for a fight. Like, so when you first got into like fighting, like MMA, not just UFC, but like MMA as a whole, did you think that there was so much like extra stuff that went on outside of the gym, or were you one of those people that, like, you know, I want to go into the gym and just maul this person and sparring or this or that? Did you think anything outside of the gym after like that, or no?
Well, you know, the times have changed so much between when I started fighting in 2011 and now. You know, back then, really, like, you could go pro, like, right off the bat, which is what I did. I had that one amateur kickboxing fight, and then I went pro.
Wow.
And for women, and at that time, that was the best solution to what to do. Like, you'll talk to a lot of women from that genre, and like they've done the same thing because they kind of had to. They didn't really have a choice if they wanted to get fights. And so I was able to do that. And I used to be able to like party all the time and then get back and spar 5 rounds the next day and go running and just take an aspirin or whatever, drink some caffeine, be good to go. Like now like I can't even. I think it's more of like age or something, but I have a couple glasses of wine like for 3 days, just like, so it's just getting being smarter about how I treat my body and things, and doing that. But yeah, definitely, and the competition is so great and has grown a lot. So you have to take every step and to be ahead of your opponent, of the person that you're training against, to get that advantage. Like all of it comes to play.
For sure. I kind of, like, kind of to talk about it a little bit, I'm not trying to, like, I kind of, I do I do CrossFit every once in a while. So I'm not comparing, UFC is like up here, CrossFit's like down here. You're doing way
No,
more turn.
you
You're
shouldn't
doing,
take any of that away. I think like if something works for you, do it. If you love it and have enjoyment in that thing, put your heart and soul into that thing and do it. It's just as important as what fighting is for me, and that's for you.
sure, yeah. So I've been doing it for about 2 years now, and there's been like times where like, I should be eating right. I should go to Chipotle and get a chicken bowl right now, but man, Whataburger sounds good right now. I don't know why. Whataburger's just right there. Chipotle's such a long drive, but yeah, there's been times like, just getting your mind right. It's like, what, I better drink a water, instead of doing all the bad stuff sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
But so for you, we're kind of talking about your early days and stuff like that. So how would you describe? We kind of talked about it a little bit, but I guess we kind of go more into it. How would you describe your early days, with your journey? Like, how would you describe your early days?
Really, like when I look back, I love the stories that are behind my early days of fighting. So I feel like it's more of that old school mentality of just like, I don't give a fuck. Let's like just fight, kind of
Sure.
thing, and go out and party afterwards and all that. And there just wasn't like, it was just more, I don't know, free spirited, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was fun. Like I like it. But I mean, those days, yeah, talk about being broke. It almost seems like harder now on the front of it because there's more expectation and you need to do more, but you're still getting started. So it's just there's a lot more responsibility to it. But yeah, I'm like, all of it's been cool. I wouldn't take away my past in fighting, like in the gyms I was with and stuff, and the memories compared from then and into the present. I have great stories. My brother-in-law and one of my friends, Brian Pena, they cornered me for a fight, and it was the best thing ever. I remember our flight got delayed from Arizona back to Amarillo. We got stuck in Dallas, and Brian had to get home or else he was going to be in trouble with his wife. So we had to take we rented a car and we're driving. It's like midnight, and he's like, "What is that?" And he pulls over, and there's some guy laying in the middle, like, of the medium of the road, and he's going over and he's like helping this guy. This is midnight. Who knows what's gonna happen? It's one of my favorite stories, and I think like they're giving me a hard time in the airport. I had like, I don't know, chemicals on my hands, so they had to take me in the back. So there's like pictures, and they're giving me a hard time, saying they're gonna like do an extra search on me and stuff, and but just like great fun memories with that. But there's stories like that. I remember like me and my friend Chelsea Colorelli, she fought too. We were out in the middle, it's midnight again. We got done fighting. We like hopped over the fence and started like swimming in the pool and stuff. And Mike had like pulled a fire alarm on us. Like, I mean, there's just so many shenanigans and just fun, goofy stuff. Like, I mean, it's cool. Like, I just,
Dang, you're out here you're living a life. It sounds like.
so much goofiness. It's cool. Yeah, I could, so many stories, but I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, for sure. So, man, that's crazy. Just pulling a fire alarm thing. Yeah, that's wild.
Probably illegal. I don't know.
Yeah. Not, yeah. No, probably. But so, yeah, I remember I remember my first out of town. It kind of reminds me of a story a little bit. My freshman year of high school, we won our first. I was wrestling JV, so we went to an out of town JV tournament, and so when we went at this tournament, I roomed with these two other freshmen that were freshmen with me. So it was funny. So there were two twin brothers, right? I'm not going to say their name on air, but two twin brothers, and so we were rooming together. There's us three, and the twins go to another room to go hang out with another teammates. So I go to my room to go get something. My key doesn't work. My key to my hotel room doesn't work. So I go to the next room over where they're at. I'm like, hey, so and so, do you have an extra key? Because mine's not wanting to work. Guy goes, yeah, sure. So he tries it, doesn't open. So he literally, okay, somebody goes, let me try this. His other brother comes by. He opens it, tries it, knocks the door open. Somehow it magically just opens. I don't know what happens. Like, just the two smallest people on the team find a way to open the door while the heavyweight doesn't know anything at all. It's like, of course, that's the heavyweight. Like, doesn't know anything. Seems like he's just there to look intimidating but lose every match. But it's just funny. But so kind of moving on a little bit, I guess. But what what was it feeling like when you first realized that you were going to have your first like UFC fight? When you first heard the news, like just the schedule. What was that feeling like? Immediate initial reaction for you?
Man, like winning the Contender Series. Yeah, it was so cool because a lot of it too, leading up to that, there was so much like internally too that I felt like I had to prove myself. I'd gone through a lot, and it was like I went to I was at a different gym. I had this big breakup with this guy. Like, I was like so in love with this guy. I thought I was gonna like marry him and everything, and it was a huge, horrible breakup. It caused me. Oh, sorry. Hey. It caused me to go to a different gym, and so it was I had a lot going on, like, and to prove to myself. So winning that fight, it was like I did it. I made it to the UFC. Like, I accomplished that ultimate goal that I had for, I think it was like, yeah, I was 8 years into the game, 7 years into the game, and I was like, I did it. Like, the ultimate goal. So I was on cloud nine. I was so excited. I really thought, like, everything was handled. Like, I could like quit my job and I didn't have to work. I could just, train and fight. And reality was it wasn't like that. But that's okay. That's okay. And yeah, it was the best moment. It was great. It was the best moment of my life at that time. I have better ones now, but at that time, like, it was cool. So
So, like, you said it took you 8 years to finally go to the UFC.
yeah.
Oh, wow, eight
Yeah,
years.
it took that long. When it was like I was fighting, and I was in Amarillo, and it was like I hit like a step point, and then finally I decided to move back to Oklahoma City. So I found a gym out there, and I was training there, and then that opened a whole new world for me, and I was getting there, and my shot for getting to the UFC was really close, and then I tore my ACL meniscus in a Titan FC fight in Florida in the first round, and I ended up losing that fight. And then so I had to take a step back with that injury and get all healed up and get back at it. And then it was like the next step, and then so it was just certain things. It just like, all right, take a step back, and then or like go in here and then step back. So, but I made it.
For sure. You did make it for sure.
Yeah.
So, like, I brought it up a little bit earlier in the intro. You were in the Contender Series for UFC. So, how did the Contender Series prepare you for where you're at now?
I wouldn't necessarily say like Contenders prepared me. Like every fight is your most important fight, because you need to win that fight to get to the next level, to get to your next fight. And Contender Series, it was an opening to get into the UFC, and it was my chance. So that is good. But I don't feel like it like prepared me to go in the UFC, because every fight prepared me to go into the UFC.
Sure. So, what something I kind of want to get into if you want to, we don't have to, but something that kind of made that got some headlines, over the internet is probably something that most people would probably be surprised about or shocked. I was kind of surprised and shocked for a little bit. Was Logan Paul, or one of the Paul brothers, helped you out, Jake Paul. So I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome. What was it like for you when you first heard about it?
That was so crazy, because I woke up that morning and I got this message on Instagram, and it was Jake, and he was like, "Hey, Sarah, I heard about your GoFundMe. Can I help you out?" And I was just like, "Is this real?" I didn't even ask him that. I was like, "Are you real? Like, is this really Jake, or is this like fake account Jake?" And next thing I know, I had $5,000 into my GoFundMe account, and then Triller, who is in part with Jake and promotes them, they put in for my GoFundMe and
Wow.
took care of, for my training for the rest of camp, and was able to provide it. What's cooler with that story, like a couple weeks before, so I was out, I was trying to train, like my fight in May got canceled because my opponent got COVID, and so when that happens, you don't get paid anything. And everything like leading up to it, all your like, the extra supplements you get, all the healthy foods, like that stuff adds up. A good healthy grocery bill is like $150, and that's like a week. So it's like, hey, that's expensive. And, I'm, feeding my husband, who just eats so much. No, I'm just kidding. But no, like I'm feeding my family and stuff too, and doing all that. And so everything leading up to that fight, that I was hoping to get my purse and get my fight money to help provide for me for the next fight, I didn't get that. So they did reschedule it for September 5th, and then they moved it to September 18th. So I was like, okay, well, I have all this time. But I mean, I was broke, and my main teammate, Christina Williams, she was hurt, so she was out. And then I was pretty much out. Like, I was like, where are my partners at? I was with my new coach, Justin, and we're training out of his garage, which doesn't have a lot of space. And he's just like, you need to find people to spar with and to go and do that. He's like, I got your pads, I got your coaching and your game plan set. You need to find some people to go spar with and to see where you're at and to test yourself. So I was going out of town, going like different places, and finding, just like traveling everywhere I could to find some women that I could like spar with and do. And that was a lot. It was a lot of training, and driving back and forth. And I know one of my paychecks, because I'm a barista at Starbucks, one of my paychecks, we didn't put the PTO in right. So I only got like $150 on that check. I was like, what am I going to do? And I'm just like thinking like, where are my morals going to go? How far is this going to take? I was like, I need like help. I need sponsorship. But from my last fight, I'm still trying to make up for, like the sponsorship that I had. And cause I make it like a deal, like you sponsor me, I'll do this for you. So I'm still making up for that. And so I'm just like in a bind. I'm like, do I need to start an OnlyFans? Like, do I need to go down that road? Like, do I need to take like my morals away from me, and what like I stand? Cause I just don't like, I never felt like I should do that because of what kind of like influence I want to be. Nothing if people have them, but for me, like I want to show people like I don't, like you can see the conflict already in me. I'm like and stuff, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I was telling my coach, I was like, my morals are about to go down the drain if I don't get some help here. Things are about to happen. Like seriously considering it. But even so, I get like this paycheck. I'm looking at it, and I was just like, God, And I hadn't been good at tithing or anything either. And I was like, man, all right. And I prayed and I was like, God, this is all I have right now. And it's just not like, it's not enough, but this isn't even mine. And like, I need to give what's yours. So, I gave my tithe and everything. And then I was in Dallas and I was like, all right, think this through. And I was just like, okay. So I hit up a friend who's in like marketing and stuff. And I was like, hey, I need some help. I just don't know. I'm not wording things right. Things aren't going very well, and I need some help and like help them like get sponsorships and things like that, and just to get me until I have this other fight. So my friend, her name is Janelle, she's like, okay, he's like, I'll help you out. I'm good at this. And then she's like, go set up a GoFundMe. And I was like, GoFundMe, I don't know, but and I was like, okay, let's do it. So she set up the GoFundMe. And next thing I knew, like this happened. And I really, no matter what, like my GoFundMe went to reporters, and they made it how they wanted it to sound. And you know what? Who cares? That's on them. They don't know my story. They don't know what I do, and it gets to Jake. But really, like, the universe, the Lord provided back to me, and like it's such a powerful story to me that I can like hold on to, and that's like, okay, we got this, and like God's watching over me, and He's provided for that and given so much to me. It's like, okay, like I know this is right, and this is cool, and so and that's like a big part of my story too. I just, it's awesome.
Sure.
So
It's such an awesome story, man. That's like an underdog story if I've ever heard one before. Man, it sounds like, got goosebumps a little bit hearing it because, like,
yeah,
it's like, man, like everything just came together in a good way. Like, Jake Paul helping you, and then your marketing friend coming to help you and everything like that. So it's like you've got a really great crew in your corner, not just corner of your octagon, but like, so corner of your life that's helping you, and God's helping you every step of the way. That's such an amazing story that you should hold on to and just be able to tell, forever, I think.
oh yeah, and it's something like I truly believe. Like recently, but last year, my husband's father-in-law, one of his dads, he passed away, but like he truly felt like he was after God's own heart, and I felt like that's been so stuck on me, and like I think like, yeah, I am too. I just kept thinking about it. I'm like digging through, like researching all these things, thinking about like King David and stuff like that, and I'm like, yeah, that I am too. And that's what I'm standing for and holding myself true to. And I really think I'm on the right path, and like fighting is so much more than just the competition and me, going for the belt, but it's being the best person I can be, and going out and telling my story and being a great influence, and just trying to be the best person and athlete I can be. And it's true. And everything around me, all the people around me, all the good energy and vibes, like so much is working in my favor. And I really think, like, I heard a story, it's like you have to go through dark times in order to see more light, and be grateful for that. And it's just like, man, like I'm there, like it's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Like, just hearing you speak about that, I know you're so passionate about it, man. It's like you really are, like, I think, an influence for so many people. It sounds like you're going to be, you're inspiration already. It sounds like you're going to be a bigger one was more as time goes on. So that's just awesome that you're able to tell that story, So that's
Yeah.
awesome. So,
Yeah. I want the world to know, especially with everything that's going on, that like you're taken care of, that you are loved, that so much good is there to offer if you just open your eyes and see it, and be grateful for the things today, and be in it for today.
for sure. So I guess kind of that wrap things up a little bit. This is a question I ask at the end for every single guest. So I want to ask you too. What three things are you grateful for currently?
Oh gosh, there's so much. Only three, man. Like,
It can
um,
make you can go more if you want to. It's whatever.
you'll be here a while.
Do as many
Yeah,
as you want.
I'm definitely, I'm grateful for, for God, for shining down on me on a daily basis, and the family and friends that I have in my life to do things. I'm grateful to be where I am today, and I'm grateful for what every day has to offer. It's like a few short ones, for my teammates. I'm grateful for you, take your time to talk to me and help me share my story. And I'm, grateful for, I don't know if I said my husband, like he's amazing, like man. Yeah, that's Julie. That's another God story too, Julie. I have so many crazy stories I could tell you, but yeah, I'm just grateful to be here today and to be shining. So.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. You have such an amazing story, so keep telling it. I know you're gonna kick butt in September, your next fight. So, of course, I'll be rooting for you as always. I'll be watching the fight. So, good luck to your fight. Even though I know you're gonna win, I have a feeling you're gonna win. But thank you for coming on to the podcast, Sarah.
Yeah,
So,
anytime. Love to be on again. You just let me know, okay?
for sure. Thank you so much, and hopefully everybody has a great weekend and great day for whatever you be listening to this. So, thank you to Sarah, and thank you everybody listening. So, see y'all later. Hey, did you like watching that last episode of What Really Happened? If so, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more content on this channel.